Can you move? Yeah, move that way a bit.
That's it.
Perfect.
That looks
Okay.
good.
I do.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Okay. So Ben, first of all, great to have you on board as part of Team Cerberus. It's a privilege to have such a good athlete on board, and we look forward to seeing you this weekend at Wales' Strongest Man down in Llangollen.
Yes, and you said that right as well, so that's good.
Yeah, I'm impressed as well. There's no way I would have been able to say that.
Well, I used to live near there, so that's probably why. But yeah, so tell us how it's going. How are you feeling? How's your prep been? How are you feeling for Saturday?
I'm feeling very confident for it. I've been prepping for this comp ever since Britain's, and I feel in the best shape I've felt, more conditioning wise, and I feel my strength has gone up as well. So unless something horrific happens, I can't see why I can't take home that title.
Awesome. Well, it'll be good to see. Who's your main threat on Saturday?
It'll be interesting to see how Martins is coming back, because he's been out for a while.
Yeah.
Gavin Bilton looks enormous, and even Dale, who I train with, he's not looking too shabby either. And there's a lot of names I don't know, so it'll be interesting to see if there's some hidden gems.
So quite an exciting event then.
Yeah. No, it's going to be one to watch for sure.
Good.
Excellent. Well,
Let's have a little. I'd be curious to have a little rundown of some of these events, because some of them are a bit different than what you traditionally see in the strongman. So a couple of the ones I've seen is you've got the giant log Viking press, which I've seen some images of that are actually real logs and stuff. What's that looking like?
Well, it's just a Viking press, as everyone knows, but instead of just bits of metal on there, it's just got two clumps of wood, like massive. I think they're like 120 each, something like that. And then you just Viking press them, but it looks amazing because they're two massive logs.
Yeah,
you got to put it above your head. It's amazing.
Have you had a wee go of it? Have you been able to test out the equipment?
We tested it to see if it worked, and then it got put away. So,
And also another interesting event which we're involved in quite heavily is the squat and load sort of event, which is going to be happening. That sounds brutal. Who came up with that?
I was chatting with Dale about it because we found this squat cage online, and then I said about loading into it at the same time, and then he seemed to like that, and then went running with it and made it what it is, and it's going to be brutal.
It sounds brutal. Is it? I think it works out. Does it only work out about 7 reps in total if you can complete the whole thing? But
if you can,
yeah. What's the final one, like 500? Or am I wrong there in saying that's like 500 odd kilos in there?
Put a post up the other day, didn't he? I think it's 520 if you get all of them. It's on a pivot, so it won't be 520 what you will be squatting, but it's still going to be some amazing weight.
Yes, and loading. Obviously, you've got to squat, run away, load, squat, run away, load. So how do you train for something like that then? How have you prepped for that?
We've been doing sandbags over yoke, and then going into a squat after that. I suppose that's all you can do really. Is just make sure you can load. You can do the conditioning. That's the only bit what's going to hold you back. If you're strong enough to squat, that's one thing. But as soon as you're tired, your strength's going to plummet.
What about equipment wise? Because I know from personal experience, if you're doing sandbags, you don't want like tight belts and knee wraps and stuff on. But also, if you're doing heavy squat, you kind of do want tight belt and knee wraps and stuff. Yeah. So what's the balance?
I use knee sleeves for squatting anyway. I very rarely use wraps unless we're going for a PB. And then belt wise, your canvas one is amazing for it.
Deadlift belt, cool.
Yeah. So otherwise, if you use like a thick leather one, it's not great for loading. But
no, it's excellent belt. It's very versatile. A lot of people it's sort of understated how sort of useful it is for these type of things.
I kind of think it should be called more the events belt, because that's where it seems to be most popular. It seems to be used more on stones and sandbags and log than I see it used in deadlift nowadays. You know, that's very popular for the strongman stuff. Okay, so the other things we're looking at as well, it's a pretty brutal looking comp. So you've got Husafeld stone. What's your favourite one? What are you looking forward to doing the most out of the 6 events that you're doing?
I do like the Fingal Fingers.
Right.
It's actual logs, so that's going to be interesting.
Yes.
Again, we had a plan that to test out the weight, and then that got put away, and then we trained on normal metal one. So it's going to be interesting, because the metal one, it's only that fat, where you're going to have logs. So
I'm looking forward to seeing that, actually, because I was speaking to Dale down at Britain's about he was explaining this log scenario to me, and it was we'll put it this way, I'd like to it all makes sense when I see it in the flesh. But
how heavy are the fingers, do you know?
I don't know weight wise. I know the last one we picked is ridiculous. I'd be surprised if even a few get it. It's
right. Okay.
It's going to be amazing to get that last one.
Right.
Yeah, but
so I think a real challenge then.
Yeah, it's quite when we were picking them, it's just quite daunting, just the size of them. So you just got to be able to hug it up as much as possible. But yeah, it's quite scary when you stand over the top of them, thinking you got to flip it over.
Yeah, it's a tough event, very very challenging event. Fingers. So I'll be fingers. Sorry, I'll be really looking forward to seeing it.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
I'll say the dad jokes for a weekend.
And what about so what do you do then now in sort of the last few days then before a comp? Do you have any sort of do you do a bit of mobility? Do you still train? Are you resting now? Yeah,
so this is the time to rest. Normally a whole week. But I find if I do nothing, I go to a comp feeling quite sluggish, and so I make sure I pop to the gym, move very light weights, even if I just stretch, just make sure I'm still moving. If you've got quite a taxing job, that's you moving anyway. So but just make sure you're just not sat on the couch doing nothing for a whole week. Otherwise, you find when you get there, it'll just be impossible to get yourself motivated.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of mobility work, how important is that in your prep? As it's sort of coming into, it seems to be a growing trend now in strongman where people are taking the sort of mobility more seriously than they used to.
Yeah, well, quite large men, aren't we? So bending over is hard anyway. Putting on these socks is difficult. So as much as you can make it easier for yourself to bend down, then you'll find lifting up the weights is a lot easier. So doing more mobility work and stretching and recovery is the main thing, and you find yourself injury free.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing in the planning these days, is to try and remain as injury free as possible. It's literally the worst nightmare.
That's part of actually getting the key of being able to can you survive your prep almost, it seems to be as well. If you can survive that peak and be ready for comp as well.
Yeah, it's all starting to change. You see it, like there's much more forward planning involved in your training, where before it's just lifting up weights and then going to a comp and then try not to burst anything. But now it's a bit more, a bit more thought out.
Yeah, structured.
So has what about then your own personal? Would you say that you've changed your training methods from last year or the year before? Have you adapted things quite a lot?
Yeah. I started doing programs for other people, and then that makes you proper look at your own programs.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm telling them to do that, but I don't do that myself. So doing that makes you think about yourself. Being at the level of Britain's, you get to chat to people and see, how the main boys in the Britain do it, and then you can mix that in with your training and just become a bit smarter, really. Like do a bit of research and just chuck it in.
No, okay. Well, it's good to hear that you're organised and you're looking forward to the weekend and look forward to seeing how you get on. What we're going to do is we'll post the link to the event. It's in the Llangollen Pavillion.
He's just showing off. Showing off now. Just out of interest, has Wales Strongest Man, has it been live streamed before? Has it ever been out visible for the public? I don't think so.
The only thing it's been on is FOC on a channel called Henno.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only been on that, and it's only like a 10-minute slot. So this would be massive coverage for it.
That's good. We're glad to be involved because we'll be streaming the whole show.
The whole show, and we'll hopefully
from
get
about 11 in the morning, I think.
Yes, I think it's. I think that's when it's all kicking off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, brilliant.
Oh well, thank you very much for speaking to us, Ben. And be sure to follow the Badger, Ben Brunning, this weekend at Wales' Strongest Man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
the best, mate. Take care. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye bye.